Oh, well, hello. Good evening, everyone. This is Progressively Yours Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm IMANI,
I'm Bernard.
and together we are Sankofa Institute for Wellness. And we have one of our favorite topics this evening, hydration and water. And we are very, very excited about the guests that we have this evening, as we always are. I don't think we ever have anyone that we're not excited about having.
Not yet.
Well, maybe one or two times we had folks like that, and it was just a question mark because we didn't really know them and hadn't really vetted them.
Oh, yeah.
And conversation got a little strange, but that's okay. That's not the case this evening. So before we get to our favorite topic of hydration and water, we are going to have Brother Bernard do what he does best, what he enjoys doing.
Thank you, Imani.
You're welcome.
I've been reading a different book from Thich Nhat Hanh this weekend. It's entitled Living Without Stress and Fear. And it's been very fruitful for me in terms of calming down, focused breathing, and I really see the benefits. One of the themes that he talked about and methods for mindfulness breathing was mindful breathing and walking. And I decided to try this on Sunday when I went into Sprouts. Mm-hmm. And I realized how fast I was walking, and I was trying to breathe with each step. And so I finally just said, slow down and relax. Mm-hmm. And so it's really an effort to breathe and notice each on the inhale, on the in breath, taking a step, and on the out breath, taking a step. Mm-hmm. So I want to invite us to breathe right now. I want to invite you to close your eyes. I'm going to strike the Ting Shawls, which is kind of the official spiritual beginning of our show. The ancestors give us permission to proceed. Take 3 breaths in and a short reading from Thich Nhat Hanh as we move forward. So get relaxed. Close your eyes. Slow your breathing in and out through your nose and be very conscious of the in breath and the out breath. Whatever has happened before arriving to this moment, it's behind you. Let it be behind you. What is ahead of you will be there upon your arrival. All that we have is this very moment. Let us be in the moment, conscious of our breathing. Your true home, the everyday wisdom of Thich Nhat Hanh. Number 317. An interesting metaphor for our show tonight. Don't water the seeds of suffering. Don't water the seeds of suffering. When we are irritated and we say something unkind to our child, we water the seeds of suffering in him or her. When our child reacts, he or she waters the seeds of suffering in us. Living this way escalates and strengthens the suffering. In mindfulness, calmly breathing in and out, we can practice looking deeply at the types of suffering we have in ourselves. When we do so, we also begin to understand our ancestors, our culture, and our society. The moments we see this, we can go back and serve our people with loving kindness and compassion and without blame. Because of our insight, we are capable of practicing real peace and reconciliation. Don't water the seeds of suffering.
Mm.
It is indeed for the ancestors. Ashe
Ashe.
and namaste.
Namaste. I like that. It's so easy to jump into your own pity party. You know, you start the day and you're thinking about all the things you have to do, and then you think about what's wrong and the things you didn't do, things you should have done. And you know, it's you guess you just get in that place. I know I started going there one day, probably early this week, probably Monday. And all of a sudden, I just started smiling. I'm like, and I just turned it into a moment of gratitude. You know, grateful for the parents that I have, grateful for the wonderful partnership that I have with you, grateful for just life and health and wellness and family and just so much. So it's so much better to water the seeds of love and prosperity and happiness and gratitude. We make a choice every day. You ever see some people on Facebook? They get on every time and they're just like complaining. You know, that's after a while, it's like, I don't even want to hear from them anymore because all they do is complain. And we make a choice about what we want to focus on. So, so as to not take up too much time, I just want to encourage and thank all of our viewers and listeners for being with us. Want to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the little bell so that you get notices of when we are going to be on. It's kind of a long thing, but if you just look up Progressively Yours Health and Wellness Podcast, you'll find it on YouTube. You'll find us on Facebook. You'll also find us on LinkedIn. So thank you all again for being loyal watchers, listeners, and subscribers. We also invite you to come to the Precision Health and Wellness Center in Swanee, where we have our red light bed cranking up. It is such a big hit. People are coming back and wanting packages and inquiring about, you know, what is this doing? And it's doing wonderful things for helping the body to heal at the cellular level, which is one of the things that interested me with this particular program we're going to hear about this evening concerning the hydration product. So with that, let me see, is there anything else I want to know? I'm going to go right into, if you're interested in coming, if you're in Atlanta, in the Atlanta area, or if you're going to be here, please call and we will get you on the schedule for the red light bed. You can call me at 470-861-7266, 470-861-7266. And we are very excited. And you children can get in and elders can get in. So everyone in between. Dr. Carl Rothschild, who created this particular red light bed, which is very, very powerful by trifecta. He says his slogan, and then we spoke about this, was that last week? Mm-hmm. He says, just get in the bed. He says, people ask, well, it's going to help with this. It's going to help with this. It's going to help with that. And, you know, we can't, you know, as wellness professionals, we can't say that anything we do is going to heal, cure, prevent, whatever. And we encourage people to check with their physicians and other healthcare providers before starting a new regimen. But with that, we're going to move on and introduce our guest who's been waiting patiently in the wings to join us. We have Mr. Chuck Warner. And Chuck learned, Dr. Chuck Warner, I'm pretty sure it's Dr. Chuck Warner, learned the value of water as a farm boy. He says he was fortunate to attend Kent State, Ohio State, Penn State, you know, those little small schools, Akron University, Rio Grande University, and Rio Grande University, wow, in Brazil, and the Pacific Institute. So he is well educated. And the funny thing is, well, he also he's an avid kayaker, whitewater rafter, um, motorcycle driver, scuba diver instructor, and swimmer. His studies included freshwater limnology. We'll have to ask him what that word means because that's not in my vocabulary. Cooling tower discharge tube into Lake Erie, agricultural runoff on fresh water, and the effects of mining on the water table quality. Mm-hmm. And so he says, kind of jokingly, with all of that background in water from when he was much younger, and all of his experience, he feels like a novice after visiting with True High, that's the name of the company, and Mr. Manaj, or Dr. Manaj, and his team of scientists. Mr. Manaj is a self-made billionaire, who is a combination of Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Mother Teresa. He donates 99% of his income to philanthropic efforts such as building hospitals, schools, providing clean water, and he feeds about 1 million kids a day. That was the main thing that caught my eye with this. He believes in addressing the basic needs of humanity and has created a patented intercellular water. People are seeing astonishing results in their health and well-being just by adding this water to their regimen. Mr. Manaj believes in giving to receive. And so he's offering a free case of this intercellular hydration water for only a nominal shipping cost. And so we heard that and we said, okay, let's get our free case. And we did. But we are excited about partnering with our guest, Chuck Warner, as well as Mr. Manaj and other people who are philanthropists and see the importance of helping people around the globe. It's very consistent with who we are and what we do. So, Mr. Dr. Chuck Warner, would you please join us?
Well, hi, and thank you, and Bernard, especially thank you. It was worth coming to the call tonight just to hear from you and what you had to say about your breathing, etc. I'm a big fan of that. Can I add one thing to that?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
The human mind has a very hard time concentrating or doing two efforts at once. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're breathing and concentrating on, I use the square technique. That's what it happens to be called. Okay, so the four corner technique of breathing, holding, exhaling, holding, intake, etc. While you're doing that, take your fingers and hold a butterfly by the wings without hurting it. Just try that in your mind. Hold a feather.
In your mind, you got the butterfly. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or, a feather,
Yeah.
just so slightly. So while you're concentrating on that and concentrate on your breathing, your pain goes away. Can't have 3 conscious thoughts at once. You barely try 2. Okay. So that's a technique that I was taught to deal with pain, a long time ago.
Very good. Thank you.
That's amazing. Yeah, we appreciate that. And I thought you were going to say, because one of the things that we learned from Thich Nhat Hanh, the author and the philosopher that Bernard read from, he says, when walking, walk. So when breathing, breathe. Don't think about all those things that you have on your plate, all the things you have to do, all the things you could have done, all the things you should have done. Just breathe and just relax. And it's so empowering and just resting for the soul, mind, body, spirit.
Being in the present, and your present has that imaginary butterfly by the wings. Okay, while you're breathing, and you can't think about the bills or what the kids can't do it.
Can't.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. I love that. That.
We'll put that into practice, because
it works. It works every time.
Yeah. Yes, I see that. I picked up a piece of paper to pretend that
there was a butterfly between you.
Just don't quite let it go, but think about it. What kind of pressure do I have on it? In, out, what kind of pressure? Can't do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you sure can't think about, how bad your back hurts, your headache, or whatever else is going on.
Right.
Yeah.
No pity party, as the doc said there.
No
Yeah.
pity party. Absolutely.
Well, it's good to meet you, and this is our first time having interchange and conversation, and so thank you for being here with us tonight to share about the cellular hydration, which I have vetted to some degree because I like working out. I like swimming. And so that's one of the ways I tested it yesterday morning. So I followed the instructions on the can. I drank it 1 hour prior to
That's good.
the swimming, and I literally could feel the difference because I did another exercise prior to that called TRX. So the 1 hour got me ready for that to experience, and I had more endurance in doing those 25 laps.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, we can do this in many different ways. But
Well, hold on, Chuck. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Just one thing before we get to the product and all of that, we have a process that we go through where we let our audience really get a sense of who you are.
Yeah, I was coming to
Yeah,
that.
so because I don't want to get us
Yeah,
too
well, no,
far.
I'm not going to go too far. I was just going to transition right into that.
Okay.
So,
But when she did this, she knows I was an athlete. So she's just told everybody because we know what timeout is, right?
Yep.
yeah, I was going to transition
At
to.
least she didn't blow the whistle on me, okay?
Yeah.
Right. No, I
Yeah,
wouldn't do
yeah.
that.
So, Chuck, one of the things in kind of, and you've already shared some of who you are in terms of growing up on the farm, but just briefly, if you would share with the audience, when you think about your life in those first 12 years of your life, what's the first thought that comes to mind about who you are during those first 12 years of living?
Okay. Well, first of all, I was a happy kid. And I had my mom and dad were approximately 50 when I was born, both of them. So my whole life, maybe I wasn't a mistake, but I sure was an accident. Okay. And I got sisters and all that are 96 and 93 and stuff like that. Okay.
Oh man.
So, yeah. So I had three moms, if you will, but they were all gone by the time I was a kid. And my mom had goiters. Okay. Thyroid problem. And we didn't know about the iodine and the salt, et cetera, in those days. So her throat was cut about every year. And I was a real boy. So I was sent out, farm boy. And so I might be 7-10 miles away on my bicycle when I'm 6 years old. Now you could do that in those days, and it was rural. Okay. So I was everywhere doing everything and met everybody and didn't know a stranger and tried to learn from me. So it was a real good childhood, even though we didn't have much. My dad was a coal miner lumberjack, big tough guy, big Jim. Okay. You didn't talk back to him. And he literally has sent me to the barn to eat if I was going to eat like that. And you went to the barn. There was no discussion. Okay? So I had good discipline. We need more of that. Children love discipline and adults love leadership. Okay. And, so that was the first 12 years. At about 12, I was kind of working like a man already. We had to farm. My dad was working. When you're a coal miner, you work a double, and a shift is 10 hours. So you work 20 hours straight.
Wow.
And, so we weren't sitting at the table talking about entrepreneurship. Okay. Did you get those chores done? Did you fix that fence? All the stuff that when he wasn't there. And I remember, guys, we had an outdoor well. Of course, we had outdoor plumbing of all kinds. And carrying a 5-gallon pail in my day, you probably told them I'm 80 years old. So in my day, your 5-gallon pails were steel. They were tin pails, okay? And they, of course, had the handle, the wire-like handle, but there was no plastic cushion like that. And, 5 gallons weighs 40 pounds. And your rite of passage was to carry the water from the well to the barn. And it was about 50 yards, okay? At 12 years old, you're barely big enough to lift it up, and that wire's cutting across your hand and carrying it to water a couple of cows, a couple of pigs, a bunch of chickens and all that, so making trips. So he certainly had a direct attachment to water and what effect that water had on the livestock. The
Right.
cows produced more milk, the chickens better eggs, the hogs grew fatter. You know, you can see it happen. My dad would explain it to me. No point in giving them this food if you don't give them this water. Now,
Mm.
so Bernard, that was kind of the first 12 years. And my dad figured out that I could put one foot in front of the other faster than most kids could, and was definitely stronger. So, you know, he knew that he probably wouldn't be here when it was time for me to go to college. So he let me play all the sports I wanted to and didn't make me do the milking or anything like that in the evening. Now, I still had to do the chores. I still had to carry the water and feed.
Mhm.
Cows need to be milked on time, right?
Yeah.
So I played every sport there was. I got 16 letters in high school
Wow.
because I was missing milking Bernard. So, you know, I knew I didn't want to be a lumberjack, a coal miner, or work in a rubber shop or something like this. I wanted to coach or do something like that.
Sure.
And my hometown idols were my coaches. You know, I mean, as a kid in those days, you respected them, you worshiped them, and et cetera. And they did the same for you. I mean, you were like their extended family. And so I got some scholarships, and, you know, that all panned out. They found out that I was not only a good athlete, but also a good student. And they started sending me to this college, that college for this scholarship, that degree, and that certificate. And I took them up on it. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Good for you.
Thank
Good
you.
for you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So tell us, going from there to where you are now. I mean, I know we skipped like most of your life.
This call isn't long enough for all that. That's for sure.
It's not. So tell us a little bit about you professionally, you know, over the past, 20 years or so, and how you ended up looking at and exploring and deciding to take part with Mr. Minaj and his vision of helping
Okay,
girls.
sure. So the last time and about the only time that I ever worked for anybody was when I taught school, and I taught at the high school level in a big inner city school. I love the inner city schools, and I was teaching at the time that Martin Luther was assassinated. So even though I had almost straight A's, I had certainly had a high grade point average. I was hired because I weighed 265 pounds, and high and tight haircut, and the right physique, and in a school that was in trouble, big inner city school. That's what I was there for. And I asked Harry Sabger, the principal, he called me, and I was shocked, and said, I asked him, what am I going to teach? And he said, I don't know, we'll figure that out. He wanted me as a disciplinarian in the school. And of course, I got to teach chemistry and physics and biology and all that. And, and I took the inner city kids out to the country and taught them to fish and hunt, and all that stuff, I mean, everything. So I've literally, had a ball doing that. And then it was time, I hate to say this, but it was this time that for my family, I had 2 children, got tired of being a new car was a new used car. That makes sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. And there was a automotive aftermarket lubricant. And of course, I understood the chemistry behind it, and I could explain what was difficult in a very simple manner. And so I left teaching, and away we went. I've been to Dubai, Kuwait, Doha, Bangkok, Istanbul, a lot of time in Israel, Australia. There's nowhere in the world I haven't been, and it's almost always involved in technology. Of course, along the way, when you're in the Sahara and you're in all those places, I said, water can be a big deal in some of those places.
Yeah.
When you're in Israel and they're a desert, and they practice drip irrigation. Okay.
Yeah.
They export produce and vegetables from Israel, a desert. When you look across the Jordan, and it's a desert because they haven't done that. So how you handle, treat, capture your water, etc., is a big deal. And I've seen every type of pollution you could imagine. I have kayaked the great rivers of the world, and et cetera, and seen them up close. And it's just a shame to what you see along the Colorado or the Yaak or the Allegheny or the middle fork of the Salmon. I mean, these are all the great runs in the world, Gully River in West Virginia. And you see all the trash along the side. So today, when it rains, everybody says, "Oh, the air smells so fresh." Well, guess why? That water cleaned all the trash out of the air, but where did the impurities wind up? In the water.
Water. Right.
Oh, they carry it into the ground, right? And they pick up more, and that becomes your water table. So you can call them contaminants. I'm usually polite and call them impurities. But the water that you and I drink today, that's not me. The water that you and I drink today is the same water that has been consumed by thousands, if not millions, of animals and people before us. There is no new water.
Okay.
And in the last 100 years, what have we done to it? Okay, so it's the same water, okay, that it was. And those impurities keep that water from doing things inside the body that needs to be done. It's that simple, guys. So, Doc, Bernard, I just want to say this. We know that the human body, 60 to 70% water.
Right.
And the rest of it is protein. Don't you think we ought to take care of the water if 70% of you is water? Yeah. And Doc, you can nod your head with me on this. There's 100 trillion cells minimum in your body, and each one of those cells is doing millions of chemical reactions per second. So 100 trillion doing millions per second, and they need all the right stuff. And we're not getting it because the water that we drink today will not enter the cell. Okay, it's prevented. The cell membrane, you could call it incorrectly the cell wall, whatever you'd like.
Okay.
No test being given here. It won't penetrate that membrane because of the impurities. It doesn't carry with it all the nutrients, etc., that are needed for those trillions of chemical reactions going on. It's real simple. So the purer the water is, and this water, Imani, it's 99.9999. Okay, and 4 nines makes it medicinal water. Instead of calling this water, there's a little bit of a movement going on between people like you and I. We're literally calling it medical food because that's how the FDA classifies it. It is food because it takes the food that you ate into the cell where it actually works instead of being outside. When you and I have spoken in person, we're very careful to make sure that people understand they still need to drink. Let's just call it the regular water as long as it's safe. Okay.
Right.
That's what keeps your blood volume up. That's critical. That's what allows you to perspire. That's critical. And that's what supports the lymphatic system and the lubricants, et cetera, outside of the cell. That's vitally important. So this is not a substitute. I've called it systemic water.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
As you were talking, describing it, in my own mind, I was saying this is almost like a water supplement, because it's got some minerals in it. It's got some things. Somebody asked, well, what is the pH? And I'm like, we're not comparing this to the regular water that you drink or the alkaline water that you drink. This is a supplement with minerals that are there to help hydrate at an extraordinarily high level.
Right. Well, this is right in the sweet spot of the pH anyhow. You're 7.2, 7.4, but it does have very few of the absolutely necessary electrolytes. Okay, it has the magnesium and the calcium, no sodium. Okay. No sugar, no calories.
Mhm.
And later on, I figure you'll get me to discuss the weight management advantage to this as well.
Absolutely. And jump in and do that because time goes so fast on these calls. We look up and I'm like, okay, Chuck, we've got 1 minute left. So talk
Sure.
about that. A lot of people are looking for things that can help them to lose weight. How does this help?
Absolutely. Okay. So we have 3 or 4 epidemics taking place in America right now, which are much more serious than COVID-19. Okay. When people check into the hospital, there's 70%, or give or take a few, have to have an IV. They're dehydrated. And people say, how can I be dehydrated? I drink a gallon of water or more a day. Well, that actually can dehydrate you because the term I use, it leaches the minerals out. Okay. So that's one, they're dehydrated. Number 2, at least 50% of Americans are overweight or nearly obese, including many children, right?
Right.
You just sit there and look at the sugary drinks that they drink and you quickly understand why. And then approximately 50% of our population is diabetic. Well, more people die from each of those things than ever died from COVID-19. Okay. Now add dehydration onto those problems, and with aging, the hydration is even more critical because good hydration keeps your immune system working properly. And elderly people go to the hospital and they die of pneumonia, don't they?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So getting to the weight now, so that we have these problems, and Manoj, he feels that he can solve those, and I know he can, and he does too. Okay, and I remember I had nothing to do with inventing this. I was just fortunate to be one of the first 12 people that he shared it with. So while we were eating lunch, and a wonderful lunch it was, and I'm a professional eater. Okay, I'm good at it. Bernard, I don't eat seconds. I eat the whole casserole.
I hear you. I was gonna say, by definition, professional is eating the whole casserole. That's
it. Okay, and you see, I'm a big guy, but I think I weigh 250, something like that. Okay, and I literally have been world famous at eating. I mean, I can eat. And everybody always made excuses. Well, you're strong, you work hard, you do this, you do that, and you need the calories. And I bought into that. And when I sat there and ate lunch with some of his scientists, and they had a great spread. They had 4 entrees. Okay. And me, I doubled up my paper plate so it was strong enough, and I loaded up with all 4 of them, right? And went back for seconds. Now, there was no one in the group that was under 65.
okay.
Okay. And I wasn't quite the oldest. Somebody else was, maybe there were 2 people, 81, something like this. So he was looking for people that were going to do what they said they were going to do, that weren't chasing money because they had bills to pay, kids going to college, etc., and had the experience and had the mix. Okay. Had the mix. So one of the scientists said, Chuck, we noticed you're a big eater. And I said, yeah. I said, I've been sent to the barn for that. And he laughed. And he said, you're hungry? I said, always. And he said, well, I got news for you. You're not. I said, what do you mean I'm not? I'm always hungry. I could go again. And he said, no, you're thirsty. I said, what do you mean? He said, your cells are dehydrated, intercellular dehydration. Outside the cell, you got plenty of water, but it's not going into the cell. So your cells are sending a signal that they're dissatisfied. You think they want to eat and they want to drink because, Imani, the other way that we get intercellular water is from the food that we eat. So honestly, the wetter your diet, vegetables, fruits, etc. Think one of the diets, whatever. It's a real wet diet. Okay, that really hydrates the cell. Okay, so I wasn't practicing. It's the, I'll think of the name of it here in just a minute, but I wasn't practicing anything like that. I was just eating. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, etc. I certainly do. But when I left there, I drove 3,000 miles. Okay. In the next 8 days, sharing this with all my doctor friends from St. Louis to Arkansas to Mobile to Miami to wherever, 3,000-mile trip.
Hmm.
Lost 8 pounds. 8 pounds. You
Hmm.
don't lose weight when you're on the road traveling. That's
No,
it.
you don't.
I lost 8 pounds. And it was at one of my friend's house in Arkansas. His wife is a great cook.
Mm-hmm.
And she fixed a beautiful casserole. And they knew Chuck was coming. So she made more, right? Getting ready for
Mm-hmm.
yeah, absolutely. And I only ate one plate full. And she said, didn't you like it, Chuck? I said, man, it's delicious. Look at this. I mean, she had a big old casserole pan. And I said, I'm just not hungry.
Mm.
So over the next couple of days, we drank quite a bit of it. And instead of getting a double cheeseburger, fries, and whatever, I just eat a regular cheeseburger, whatever it was when Mark and I were going everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally lost a notch in my belt.
Wow.
Instead of coming home bloated like you normally do, all the places in the world I've been.
Mm-hmm.
And so 8 pounds in 8 days. Well, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when you're not a guy that loses weight easily. And I work out hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the next 8 days, I'd lost another 8 pounds. So I was off 16 pounds in just a couple 2.5 weeks. Well, come on.
That's a reason to keep drinking.
Sell, right? That will sell. And so I've lost a total of 22 pounds, kind of leveled off. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I've lost approximately four notches on my belt, about 4 inches.
Explain why. I mean, you're a scientist. Explain what's happening in the body that's reducing your hunger and still, making you feel full.
So my cells have been corrected. They now are properly hydrated. So there's not discontent by the cell. Okay. So I'm not misreading any signal. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm satisfied. And I've hit a point. Okay. And truthfully, I could easily lose another 10 pounds. Okay. And possibly will. Now, I drink maybe one more can than they kind of acknowledge you should. Bernard, 2 cans. I drink one in the morning, get my day started with it. And then my workout time, whatever that is, about a half hour before, something like that. And then I drink one in the evening. And of course, as guys, that have to make the frequent trips during the night, they'll love this. Look at me, guys. You will love this because this does not go to the kidneys. Excuse me, I'm just going to say it. This does not become pee. Okay. This goes into the cell and it's stripped apart. The oxygen's immediately used by the mitochondria to do those trillions of chemical reactions taking place, and the rest is exhale. This doesn't make you get up during the night. So the last beverage you have at night should be this.
Okay.
Certainly, if it doesn't eliminate your need to do that, it certainly will diminish it.
We'll cut it back.
Yeah.
Look, let me ask. Oh,
go ahead.
Let me ask you one thing. When I first heard about the beverage, I said, "Oh, I don't drink anything out of cans because cans are contaminated without the aluminum and so forth." So, and your response to that was,
well, there's a new liner in this that's better than glass, but as you can see, it's flexible. Okay, inside. All canned goods within the next 5 years will need to have this particular liner in there. It's not a plastic, it's not a Teflon, nothing like that. So it's the safest thing. It's as good as glass, but it's 100% recyclable.
Okay. Do you know what it is? Because folks are going to ask me. Folks.
Yeah, we'll save that for another time. Okay, I don't want to.
Okay,
that's another whole chemistry lesson.
Safe. Yeah, it is safe, and I think that's what.
It's extremely safe.
To know.
we have some pictures that I think that you have that you want to share. Is that right?
Yeah, the workout pictures. We understand that you press 400, 500, 800 pounds or something.
Yeah.
Wow. How much is that?
That's 800 pounds by an 80-year-old.
Wow.
So that's the world's record for people over 75. The former record was 454 pounds. And I might also say it's the world's record for people over 65. Okay. So, yeah. Now, listen, let's not con anybody here. I'm not able to do that 800 pounds just because of this water.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm innately a farm boy, strong genetically and all my life. But I will tell you, when I work out, just a general workout, not a max like that, I work out, I do 10 reps, 500 pounds, which would be the world's record. I'm doing it 10 times. Okay. And then 600 pounds, I'll do that, usually about 8 times. And then 700 pounds about 3 times. And if it's a day where I want to see what I got, okay, I'll do it. It used to be that 600, a little bit more that's all I was comfortable doing. So quite a bit of difference there. And in the curls, and almost everybody knows what a curl is.
Right.
I was regularly worked out with 100 pounds. And this has been the most amazing thing. I'm currently 140 pounds, and I can't account for that any other way than what this has done. Now, Doc, let me be real specific here. Extracellular water is important, right? You got to have it. But this intercellular water is what makes the muscle contract. That determines the health and the strength of the muscle. And you heard him say, he used the word endurance. He felt, Bernard said, my endurance just was different.
Right.
That cell is healthier so it can contract more times.
Okay.
Interesting.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Water outside the cell, that'll keep you from getting too hot, but it won't make the muscle tissue and the cell itself stronger. Now, let's not stop at muscle now. Okay, everybody gets locked on this guy doing 800 pounds. Your kidney's doing what it's doing. The liver's doing what it's doing. The heart tissue, the heart cells, lung cells, brain cells, everything benefits the same. So honestly, if people are a little bit cloudy, in their thought process, whatever, you just hydrate those cells and take those nutrients to those brain cells and add extra oxygen. And I'm telling you, you snap back in a hurry. As you can tell, I'm not struggling at 80 years old. I'm not struggling.
Yep, not at all.
No.
So I would imagine, Chuck, that with the intake of this the cellular hydration and people who are, let's say, supplements as opposed to medication, and maybe even medication, then it's going to even elevate what the supplements are doing already, but it's going to take it to another level into the cellular work. Is that right?
Sure. You and I are old enough that we remember when we were told you are what you eat.
Yes.
That wasn't correct. And then we were correctly told you are what you digest. That wasn't quite correct. And then we were told you are what you ingest into the cell. Well, the problem with our ingestion is the regular water won't cross the membrane carrying those supplements or medications.
Okay.
So many people are reporting already that their blood pressure has just literally gotten under control and they're able to take less medication. Now, you don't do that, without your doctor knowing what you're doing, because there may be something else going on that you're not privy to. Now, I'm fortunate now. My blood pressure is an 80-year-old, 250-pound guy. I'm usually about 117 over 68.
Wow, good for you.
68 pulse. Yeah, sure. The cholesterol's, all that.
We would pay you for that.
But yeah, I plan on staying there. Okay. I don't want a downhill slide.
Right.
And that's what happens to us. So you're literally turning back the clock. You really are.
So who is Who are the best candidates to drink this water?
Yeah, anybody with cells.
Okay, that's fair.
Anybody with cells.
I
Sure,
was, mhm.
people that are suffering from some whatever, they
Mhm.
notice it because they're suffering. You know, in America, I'm sorry to say this, but we are the worst place to sell prevention.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real, come on now, okay? You know, we spend more money than the next, what is it, 13 or 19 countries on drugs, if you will. I mean medications. Oh,
Mhm.
and we're, what are we, 17th in health or something like that?
Something like that. The numbers, it's getting higher and higher every day in terms of
You know,
being on the bad side of that.
yeah,
That
our friends from China, et cetera, they've been practicing these things for thousands of years.
Mhm.
And, you know,
Yeah, I like that it reduces your um, it reduces your urge to keep eating. You know, reduces your feelings of hunger. You know, without it being a diet. You know, it's
yeah,
something that just gently regulates what's going on because when your cells are hydrated, you're going to feel more.
well, you're offering all your listeners tonight a free case.
Oh, yes. You know what? Please, Janet, please put that up so that folks can see where to get their free case so they can try it themselves. That's what we did. And we're
Yeah,
in
in just a week or so, they'll see. And
That's
they'll
not
be
it.
back.
That's not
They'll
it.
be back on the
Take
next
that
call
down.
with
That is
guests,
not it.
right? They'll be back on the next call with guests.
Hold on, please. Take that down, Janet. That is not it.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
get your phones ready, folks. Get your
that was
phones ready
that
and
was
just snap
something
a picture.
totally different. It's one that says mytrulyessential.com. It's on the run of show that I sent Janet. It was on something else that
Boy, Janet and Toya do a great job on this.
they're
Oh,
amazing.
absolutely.
They are
Yeah.
amazing. It ends
Hats
in
off to them.
Sankofa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mytrulyessential.com/pages/sampling !ref equals Sankofa. I'll say it slowly if you want to type it in, Janet. I'm sorry. I thought you had this.
Oh, I'm glad I asked.
Huh?
So I'm glad I asked. So while she's getting that ready,
Mhm.
you know, let's talk about Manoj for just a moment, right?
Okay.
So here's this guy. He wears tennis shoes, jeans, a pullover. He drives an Acura, lives in the neighborhood, okay, fixes his own cereal for breakfast, and drives to work.
I love
Mhm.
that.
You would just never know who this.
Down to earth, huh?
Yeah, he has 25-acre campus. Now, I'm going to urge you to, and anybody that would like, to go. They're going to do one in June where you get to go, and he'll even pay your way to come in if you're serious. And yeah, and you can see on this 25-acre campus, they're in Farmington Hills, which is like the Silicon Valley of Michigan, there outside of Detroit. It-
Mhm.
yeah, he has 11 of the most incredible buildings that you've seen. And one of them is dedicated to Alzheimer's. One of them is dedicated to water. One of them to energy. One of them is his big media holdings, you know, from Sports Illustrated to Parade and all this. He owns 50 some publications. And then his television studio, when you watch the real news, we won't get into politics here, but, you know, I'm disappointed in Fox and CNN because
Yeah.
I don't believe anything anymore. So there's a couple real news channels, and he owns those. So this guy's going to make a difference. And
Mhm.
there you go. Let's check it out now.
Looks like it. mytrulyessential.com/pages/sampling !ref equals Sankofa. Yeah, that's it.
That looks right.
That
So,
looks right. So yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, you know, we have not talked at all about the glow. And you
Oh,
personally
yeah.
haven't had the opportunity to try glow yet. It's not very
Right.
good, is it?
No. Turn twist
Right there,
put the
right?
angle. Yeah.
Right,
Natural glow.
right there. Yeah.
Okay.
Tilt
Now
it
you
towards the screen a little bit. Tilt it toward
Come up. Bring it
up.
up.
That's
Yeah.
up.
forward.
Right
That's better.
there, right there, right
Natural-
there, right there.
natural glow.
Now take it back an inch. A bit more.
Natural glow hydration.
All right, that's good.
Okay, tell us about that, because we know that
Along with weight,
mhm.
everyone, not just ladies, but everyone would like to get rid of wrinkles. They like to peel the
Mhm.
ears off. So this has an amino acid in it, okay, a natural amino acid that causes the body to create collagen.
Right. I love
Now,
that.
Bernard and I, it's a little late for us to do too much about our incredibly good looks that we no longer have. But the ladies, you know, they
Yourself.
yeah, his idea of cosmetics about the same as mine: deodorant and toothpaste. Okay. Right, Bernard. So, the production of collagen working from the inside out,
Mhm.
okay, is a dramatic effect. Bernard and I will like it especially because of our joints. You see, that collagen is a first cousin of what's in the skin. And elderly people get dry eyes. You know, Ben Stein's been on television since I was a boy selling a product called dry eyes. Okay, that's a collagen too. It's kind of like WD-40 weight, and your skin is like 10W30, and in your knees is like 90 weight grease. Well, all those are great, right? It only takes about 6 days for ladies to notice the difference. The fine ones and all go away. And there's what do they call it? It's got a mask in it that can be used 12 times. And 12 cans are in a case. And you drink the water and you put this mask on. And I'm telling you, the wrinkles just go away. Now, I've drank the glow to see what it's like, but I haven't, my macho man, I haven't put the mask thing on yet. But, you know, somebody will bet me or something, I'll do it finally. But it's just in my mind, 800-pound leg press and worried about your wrinkles don't go together.
No, they don't.
That's my problem, though. Understand? There's no reason to have extra wrinkles, etc. You know.
Yeah. I like the idea of, I mean, your body makes collagen, but there are a lot of products on the market that, you know, have either fish oil or bovine or, you know, some animal product that's you're getting their collagen as opposed to, you know, working with the natural that you create yourself.
Sure. You know, trying to rub it in from the outside is a joke. I don't care how fine it is or how hard you push. You're not going to get by that much beyond the epidermis, right? This is developing it, okay? And you know, there's lots of things. You see, if the blood cells are manufactured, that's the only cells that are manufactured in the body, right? Everything else is a reproduction. So that bone marrow is producing more blood cells, carrying more oxygen. You know, I mean, it just goes on and on. 100 trillion cells. If you make every single one of them better hydrated, they perform like they're supposed to, and the benefit for you would be better health. Okay, that's it. It's just a better health.
How young can we give this to children?
I don't think there's any limitation to it. I know that you know, lactating women, et cetera, they can drink it while they're nursing. Even, you know, it's medical food. It's the purest water in the world. But, you know, to be safe here as we're speaking, I guess I would share it with my doctor. You know,
yeah,
pregnant. They pretty much have to do that for liability reasons anymore. But this versus a glass of water out of the tap, you know, hello.
And again, this is not meant to replace the water. If you're drinking alkaline water or spring water or whatever your good source of water is, this is to add to it and to make sure that you get the minerals and things that you
just
need.
make sure it's safe. And many of the sports drinks, it's tough to classify them as safe. Remember the osmolality. I hate to go there, but you and I like osmolality. Osmolality is the ability of a fluid to cross through a cell membrane.
Right.
And the regular water in the bottles in the tap, that has an osmolality reading of 10. Remember that, 10. Okay. The NIH, National Institute of Health, and all, they say that it takes an osmolality of a minimum of 180 and a maximum of 240. And water is at a 10. Listen to my language. It ain't going through the cell. Okay. I don't care what it is. It ain't. And this sports drinks frequently are at the 350 level.
Okay. Well,
So they're not doing it either. As a matter of fact, all that sodium is pulling what water you have captured in the cell out. So
mm-hmm.
it actually dehydrates the
And
cell.
Mm-hmm. And what's the osmolality? We've got about 2 minutes left, Chuck. I tell you, this is going to happen.
Yeah, the osmolality. The
Yeah.
osmolality, I'm just giving this to you in a layman's form, is the ability of the fluid to cross a membrane.
Right. But I'm saying,
Everybody knows what osmosis is.
Mhm.
Okay, region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. Right. Put food coloring in a bowl and watch it dissipate. Right.
Mhm.
All right. So that's fine, but I don't care how concentrated the water and the nutrients are outside the cell. If it won't go through, if it isn't permeable through that membrane, it won't carry it into the cell.
Right. So one last point, because we're going to get music in a second. What is the osmolality of the cellular?
Perfect 200, right smack in the middle.
Okay.
And that's patented. And he's the only person in the world that can and knows how to do that.
That's
powerful. DuPont says he's 10 years ahead of the rest of the world in water.
Wow. That is great. But we so appreciate that you came on and shared this wonderful product with us. And Janet, if you would please put the free trial information there, the free case. You do have to pay shipping, but it's a nominal cost.
Take your camera, guys, and just snap a shot of that so you've got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So we appreciate you. We have to have you come on as this gets further out into the communities and people are using it and having their own experiences.
Yeah. It's easy to tell that your people are like you and they want to help other people. Mm-hmm. So, we're going to, with your help here, we'll teach them what to say. Mm-hmm. Okay. And how to say it, because they don't quite have the credentials that you and I do, but they don't need them. Okay.
Yeah, no,
would you like to feel better? Well, yeah. Would you like to weigh less? Well, yeah. Would you like to sleep better? Would you like to not have to get up in the middle of the night? There's a few benefits there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you again, and we'll follow up, and we'll definitely continue to share. I think the company lets you share like 150 cases, something like that, from your.
Right.
I think there may be people who want to, as you said, share this with us. So that's
absolutely sure. Okay.
Opportunity to, and there's a sweet and an unsweetened version of each of the three types of beverage.
And I know we're out of time, but the only reason there is a sweetened version is 75% of the population drinks sugared drinks, and going all the way from those sugary drinks all the way to no sweetness at all, too big a step. They won't do it. Yeah. So there has to be a step halfway. So if you don't like that, okay, and you have an unsweetened version, I don't have one sitting here. Just be very careful. But the stevia, monk fruit,
or monk fruit,
just the faintest little bit of it, and that'll be all you need. It won't hurt the osmolality or anything like that. Now, don't go putting teaspoons of sugar or anything.
Of natural.
Destroy the osmolality, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. Don't leave. When after the music, we'll come back and have conversation. So hang around for a few moments before.
Sure. Well, I'd like to thank Janet and Toya again for.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll be in the backstage with us.
Yeah, they're wonderful production team.
Yeah, so we'd like to thank our audience for attending and sharing and receiving this information tonight. Mm-hmm. We hope that you find it educational, beneficial, and take the opportunity to make the order for your free case.
Absolutely.
And let us know. Let us know the results after you try it.
All
it is indeed for the ancestors that we share and celebrate this tonight. They have given us permission to continue to go forward with our healing and self-transformation.